Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing today? Force here. Going to be commentating on Game Feed today. Today's matchup is between Roxkiss BratOK and AA Nerchio, or Nerchio. I think Nerchio sounds better. I think that's probably right, as opposed to the hard CH, the ch. I think it's Nerchio as opposed to Chio. I could be wrong, though. You guys can correct me if you want. People love to correct me on YouTube. So anyways, this is a Terran vs. Zerg. We are on Terminus RE. And I think with a lot of the new influx of maps that have been showing up all around the YouTube commentary scene, I think I'll be putting some time into discussing the maps as well. Between the GSL maps and the new Blizzard map pool and everything like that, there's just a whole lot going on. Now again, we can see the supply depot right here. I talked about this in the last matchup that I casted on Terminus RE, about the fact that it's made to prevent a wall off, kind of an early game wall off against your opponent. You know, like going with a cannon wall in, or maybe even putting a depot and a bunker, stuff like that. A couple of buildings to wall off like a Zerg opponent or anything like that really can be really frustrating. So that's why they actually went ahead and placed this little depot down there just to prevent that from happening. You can't control it, you can't raise it up, so it prevents a full wall off. Now taking a look here in natural, a little bit wide open. You do have to be concerned here about this entrance, but not really, because I just lied about that. You have to be concerned about this entrance. This entrance right here is actually leading right into your natural third, and there's a rich Vespian geyser there as well, so that's pretty cool. Getting that extra Vespian definitely plays a big role. So the cool thing to note about this map is they're just so easy to expand to your natural and your third, because they're both so very close in proximity, very easy to defend. From there, of course, it gets a little more difficult, but this is a relatively large map as well. So either way, aside from just these three expansions, or these two additional expansions as opposed to your main, aside from those, it's very macro friendly. It lends itself to long gameplay. Now we can see right here, Nerchio pulling back his Overlord. We do have him going for that quick expansion here as well, just dropping down that pool recently. Still no gas at this point in the game. And then taking a look over here for BratOK, we can see he's got that one refinery up. Barrack is finished. First Marine on the way out, and let's take a gander as to what he gets after that first Marine. Let's see if he's going to be opening up with another Rax, going into a factory. Just see exactly what his plan is. Right now, finally coming down with that extractor at about 17 supplied there. That spawning pool is just about to be finished. As soon as this hatchery's up, I'm going to go about and expect to see two queens pop up. That seems like a pretty logical thing that would be happening. And there is that factory. So BratOK going to be moving in the factory, lifting this off, and it looks like I might be seeing a reactor get dropped down. That could quite be the case. Let's see here. Get another 6 Vespian there, and here comes that reactor. Bam, right there. So reactor getting dropped down. Of course, that's going to allow him for those double Hellion pushes, and those can be quite effective. Opening up with Hellion, a pretty popular tactic. Back in the day, it used to be, oh, look at all that spam over there. Back in the day, it used to be that lots of players were opening up with Reapers against Zerg. It was quite effective, especially once you could get that Reaper speed early on in the game. Not really an option anymore, so you are seeing many more people just go with the standard Hellion opening against Zerg. Either that or a early Marine push with like a couple SCVs, trying to get some bunkers down, stuff like that. That's also a pretty popular tactic. Can see right now spine crawlers coming down for Nerchio, so going to allow him to protect himself quite a bit actually against those Hellions. The Hellions, either way they push in, they're going to get hit by that spine crawler at least once. So trying to move forward with that SCV scout, he's going to be seeing that spine crawler. Also at the same time, obviously seeing that expansion, was trying to eke his way into the main base, didn't quite work though. Zerglin moving out and actually spotting that Hellion right now. So the Hellion, he's well aware it's coming in. Actually, look at that, deciding not to go with the double Hellions, just going to be going with those double Marines in fact, and getting that tech lab down on that factory. So it looks like Marine tank is going to be the opening. Here comes that first. No, it does not. Is he going to get the Infernal Pre-Igniter? Wow, look at that. So starting off with the Infernal, he might be switching it up at that point to get those double Hellions. That can be quite effective as well, I'd have to say. We do also have that expansion coming down at the third, in fact, here. So not putting it down at the main, and that's actually quite interesting, because we saw, for example, when Nerchio moved out with that Zergling scout, he would have spotted if the natural was here, if the expansion was here at the natural, but instead, by putting the expansion down here at the third, he actually made it so that with that scout, he didn't spot it. So at this point, it doesn't look like Nerchio knows that BratOK has gotten an expansion. No, he does not. He's not aware at this point. So Pretty cool play there by BratOK. I really like that. I think that he could spot it from here. I'm not sure if he would have the vision with just a unit, though. If he stood a unit right here, I'm not sure that he would be able to see it so much. So there, BratOK going to be sitting with these 2 Hellions right here at that Zelnaga tower. Still going to be pumping Hellions out of these. He needs to leave it on there until that Infernal Pre-Igniter finishes. I think at that point he will be moving out. Going to be roasting the Zergling quite quickly. There we go, dropping down right now. We do see Roach Warren out right now for Nerchio. Nerchio still on the 2 bases. Does have his layer coming up. Getting that second extractor over here as well. So both players just kind of hanging tight at this point. Not a whole lot going on for either of them. Infernal Pre-Igniter just about finished right now. It's actually going to be timed with that last Hellion that's going to make it out there. So there we go, popping out right now. And it looks like there's going to be a liftoff here. I wonder if he's going to be doing a switch once these 2 Marines come out and just keep going for this massive amount of Hellions. Do have a nice Marine over here on patrol. This is something I do quite frequently, allowing you to spot for any Overlords to try to sack their way on in. Going to be able to catch it in time and hopefully respond before he gets too much vision there. Ooh, Overlord trying to move out as a scout. Very dangerous position there, obviously. I think he was looking for a big push of Hellions, but instead caught 4 Marines to the face. Roach is going to be moving out right now to the Zelnaga tower, so the Hellions, they should have this vision, obviously, with the tower. Need to push out of there. There we go, move out just in time before taking any shots there from those Roaches, and the Hellions going to make it safe and nice and safe home. A couple Zerglings pushing out as well, so we're seeing a small little Roach Zergling push here from Nerchio, trying to at least threaten here to push at the front door. Marine taunting out those units here. We got a bunch of Marines over here as well as these Hellions. Now Marines aren't that good against these Roaches, but in this bunker they definitely have a much better chance there against fending them off. And look at this, lots of barracks here down for BratOK. BratOK also going to be getting this 1 tech lab over here, so going to be starting to get some upgrades for his Marines. He, of course, would love to have that stim pack as well as that combat shield. If he makes that transition into that mech heavy play with some tanks, that'd be quite interesting. But at this moment, just been sticking to mass Marine. This is actually pretty nuts here. Does finally going to be starting to get some Marauders right now. We do have the stim pack as well as that combat shield, especially since he's so Marine heavy. And here comes the Overlord Scout, and even with that 1 Marine spotting isn't enough. It's not an Overlord, of course, it's an Overseer. Wow, I had a hard time with that. and yeah, I mean, obviously it's just way too quick. He didn't have enough anti-air over here, so Overseer getting the full scout. And I mean, as a Zerg player, just realized, like, look how damn effective that was. That thing just cruised right through the base, no problem. Caught all of the buildings. He knows right now bio heavy is what he's up against, so he knows to prepare about that. Spire just about finished right now, and look at this, even scouting the expansion, so he knows at this point that there is a second and actually coming up with a third right now. So yeah, going to be on the same amount of bases. Nerchio needs to take heed and try to do something about that. He doesn't want to, again, he doesn't want that Terran player to be on the same number of bases as he is. That is, of course, not the best situation for you as a Zerg player. So Mule is finally going to be coming out right now, getting some upgrades. Also has that Baneling nest up, going to be getting those centrifugal hooks there as well. So those should definitely come into play sometime in the near future. Interested to see where those Hellions are. Yeah, Hellions are still up, and they haven't done any damage. They think they killed like 1 Zergling so far, but that's about it. Let's take a look at that unit loss tab. Not a whole lot of action so far into the game. We are, of course, about 10 minutes into the game right now, but I mean, this isn't the worst of things. Both players just kind of macroing up. I mean, this is kind of a, again, like I said at the beginning, it's a macro-friendly map. A macro makes for macro-heavy games, and here we go. Finally going to be seeing some harassment. Moving out with the Mutalisk right now. Going to be target firing down that 1 Marine. Needs to be careful not to push in, though, against those missile turrets. Very, very dangerous, and actually some really solid turret placement here by BratOK. Come the later stages of the game, when there are many more Mutalisks on the board, a couple turrets here and there aren't going to make that much of a difference. But during these early stages, where there's only really a handful of Mutalisks, like between 5 and 10, just a couple turrets can be more than enough to deter them, especially if you can respond quickly enough when it comes to repairs and get a repair down as soon as they move in. You can take quite a few of those. Zerglings pushing out across the board. Wouldn't be all that surprised if we saw Nerchio move out for another expansion sometime relatively soon. We can see getting not really close to mine out, but it's definitely getting there, working his way on down. And look at that, even this big cloud of Mutalisks, it's not huge, but even these 7 Mutalisks don't want to fight that 1 missile turret. It's just too dangerous. You take too much damage, especially if there are any Marines nearby that are threatening to push. You're just in a whole lot of trouble. And look at that right now, as I called it, Nerchio coming out with that 4th expansion. Again, he knows he needs to get that 1-up on his opponent, and BratOK sitting here comfortably on 3 bases. You know, he's definitely going to start to be in a good position. We can see lots and lots of upgrades coming out for both players, just continuing up that production. We do have that level 1 upgrade making its way on out. Tons of units actually coming out for Nerchio too, so he may be looking to be a little aggressive right now, trying to push in with those Mutalisks to, again, just try to test, see what's going on. Take a look at that unit composition. He wants to have a good idea of what his opponent's getting for units. we do have all these Zerglings, ton more coming out that, of course, lends me to believe that he's probably going to be coming out with a ton of Banelings. That's quite obvious there. Quite obvious statement. The centrifugal hooks did just finish. The level 1 upgrade is going to be finished sometime soon as well. Now pushing into this, at this point, actually, wouldn't it be that difficult, especially if you try to roll in with some Banelings here. These tanks are not sieged up right now. I'm sure clearly that BratOK would siege him up when he sees the push coming, but it looks like at this point Nerchio is just going to be content with doing some harassment with these Mutalisks, and he's actually starting to get to that point where he's not that fearful of turrets anymore. He's going to be able to snipe them down and not be all that concerned. But again, even just this one turret and the threaten this kind of, I mean, relatively small group of Marines. It's not like this is multiple control groups worth of Marines, but it's very threatening. The Mutalisk is just way too fragile of a unit to be able to come up against that. They just drop far too quickly, especially considering what it costs to get a Mutalisk. 100 Vespian, 100 minerals, a very, very expensive unit for being as fragile as they are. Of course, the big benefit is that they're so mobile and they're so great at harassing and so great at containing your opponent. So just flying around right now, continuing to spread that creep, doing a great job here. We do have continued upgrades, a level 2 air upgrade here, as well as the level 2 carapace upgrade for his units. And taking a look over here for BratOK, just continuing to pump guys out. Dealing with this mutant harassment is going to get more and more difficult. He's doing a good job of spreading out those Marines in between his bases, though, to try to sandwich like he just did there. We can also see that level 1 mech upgrade coming. The level 2 range upgrade for his infantry is making its way on out as well, and another expansion going down. So going to be trying to push out. Now this is the point for a Terran player that it becomes very difficult to expand on this map. It's going to be a little more difficult for him to even push out into this position. Does have to be concerned about that creep spread too, to kind of slowing down his ability. So he's going to be making the slow push right now, and that's exactly what he needs to do. The danger, of course, is it's going to leave this area a little more vulnerable. Mutalisks could technically roll around here and just push into the back and cause a lot of damage before BratOK is really able to respond. So just going to be making a slow push. We can see those turrets making their way on up, and then eventually going to be moving some of those tanks probably right around this vicinity, allowing him to get this up. He does, of course, want to cover this area of the map as well. Going down with that scan, going to be stimming up and taking out those creep tumors as quick as possible. We do have a couple Mutalisks moving forward. He realizes at this point, Nerchio is well aware at this point that BratOK is looking to push out, so he's going to be getting ready. Look at all those Banelings sitting over there. He is ready for this engagement whenever it does come. He is fully prepared, and he needs to be very careful to make sure that he has some good unit control here with those Marines, because if he gets caught off guard, that's a lot of Banelings. That could be a whole lot of trouble, so definitely needs to be aware and a little concerned about this. Mutalisks trying to fly around. They're going to be trying to snipe down these tanks as quickly as possible and then pull out, and look at that, getting down that one tank, and yeah, just leaving after that. Here we go, finally moving forward with these Zerglings. Going to be trying to take care of these Marines that are all by themselves over here, taking lots of tank fire from up on high ground, though. Wasn't the best engagement there for Nerchio, unfortunately. Needs to be a little more careful than that. Trying to still maintain control of that Xel'Naga tower, finally forced to push back there because of the threat of those Mutalisks. And here we go, BratOK making that slow push, going to be trying to expand. The Mutalisks just continuing up this harassment, doing everything they can. Tanks finally moving forward. Again, like I mentioned before, they do want to make sure they can cover from this area. Tanks want to be able to hit anything that rolls in from this side. Otherwise, this expansion could be in a whole lot of trouble. Mutalisks continuing to fly around. Going to be taking a few free shots here. Might be able to take out a couple tanks. I think they will. 2 tanks down already. There's a third. And boy, those were big losses right there from BratOK. He wasn't covering that one side, and just look how quickly that Death Cloud of Mutalisks was able to make him pay for that. So dangerous there as a Terran player. You really got to cover all of your angles, or else something like that can happen and absolutely devastate you. Big transfer going down here of SCVs. Mutalisks continue to fly around, and we can see here again Nerchio staging up with all these Zerglings and all these Banelings. He's getting ready for the big engagement. Mutalisks continue to fly around and try to spread out those Marines as much as possible and do as much harassment as they can. Lots of turrets set up here for BratOK, trying to cover the backside there of his Marines. He's already taken, the backside of his tanks. He's already taken so many tank losses. He doesn't want to deal with it anymore. Gonna be trying to pull those Marines anywhere. Look at that. You see again, any outlying tanks are just subject to quick snipes. It's so dangerous. We're trying to respond with something, though. Scan going down, trying to take out some tumors. Needs to be careful, though. Lots of Zerglings as well as Banelings moving forward there. Finally forced to push back once they get within that tank fire there. We can see right now Nerchio continuing to expand. There hasn't been any return harassment at all. I would love if we saw BratOK come out with some drops here. He's got these medevacs sitting here and ready to go. If he could drop into some sort of harassment, but Nerchio has basically been free to do whatever he wants. He's just been massing up units here, been getting upgrades. He's coming out with a greater spire right now, for God's sake. I mean, this he's just been free to sit around, and look at this, continuing to push forward and snipe down those tanks. He's just trying to get those tank numbers as low as possible for when he does finally push in with those Speedlings and Banelings. As long as he can slow them out the number of tanks that are over here for BratOK, it's going to allow him to quite easily push forward with all of those units. Marines moving forward, going to be taking out some tumors as well as getting some free overlord kills. He needs to be careful though. I know that there are some speedlings of banelings sitting all over the place around here, so whenever he decides to push in, he could definitely take those out quite quickly. But look at that, all those creep tumors did get dropped there, unfortunately for Nerchio. So yeah, still not a lot of counter harassment going on at all. Marines trying to move forward and going to get a complete surround there from all of those speedlings and banelings. Very unfortunate there for those Marines, although unfortunately for Nerchio as well, he did lose a lot. There we go, finally seeing a drop here from BratOK. This is what I want to see. Hopefully he does something with that though. I mean, these guys, come on, you're in the middle of a war. What are you doing? You guys really, what are you talking about? Seriously. There we go, stim pack going down. Gonna be moving forward to the mineral line, going straight for those resources. Want to take out as many as possible. At the same time, we're gonna be seeing counter push here, trying to take out just a few of those units. Speedlings and banelings rolling down and quickly taking care of those Marines. The medevac managed to pick up one of them and head back home, so that one Marine does live to tell the tale about all of his friends who unfortunately did. AI of units in this game is stupid. That is correct, Nerchio. It is stupid. All right, Marines continuing to push forward here with lots and lots of medevacs. Does again need to be careful. There's so many banelings on the board. I can't wait to see them actually come into play. And look at this BratOK feeling pretty bold, continuing to push out. Tanks over here, not that well protected actually. If we do see some more Mutals flybys, although I'm not sure what the Mutals numbers are like right now. Pretty low, only at 4. But look at this right now. We do have 5 or 6 or something. We do have 6 Broodlords rolling forward. Very, very dangerous. Tank fire taking out BratOK's own units. And that, of course, is the danger by having tanks set up when Broodlords are on the board, is that the splash damage is going to hurt your own Marines. And these Broodlords, this is not looking good right now. We do not have any Vikings, I don't believe. And no Viking as the board. Stim Marine's going to want to try to go down. But at the same time, Speedlings and Banelings rolling forward. Needs to be so careful right now. And here we go. Speedlings and Banelings rolling forward. Going to be taking out those Marines. Not stimming back at all, and he lost all of those Marines. He lost almost every single Marine he's got. Does he have any right now? He's got 17 Marines. I'm not quite sure where they are. There we go, streaming out over there. That was huge. That was huge. That was a lot of losses right there. Still sitting with these 3 Broodlords. Going to be moving forward with a few more Speedlings and Banelings, getting us around on unsieged tanks, and say goodbye to your siege tanks, BratOK. They are no more. So unfortunate. Got caught completely out of position. Now down to just the 1 Broodlord, but it doesn't really matter right now. BratOK lost pretty much all of his forces. Right now, taking a look at the army tab, we can see 170 something to about 130. So right now at this point, Nerchio definitely in the better position. Going to be rolling forward with these Speedlings and Banelings. There's so few units right now. Nerchio is just cleaning house at this moment, and these Marines just keep getting rolled over by these Banelings. Unfortunately, BratOK not managing to micro them away in time. He's just been not really been quick enough on that. We can see losing the space over here. I don't think this base stands much of a chance at all. We do have Speedlings just rolling on forward. Now a couple of Marines getting on the board with all these medevacs will actually be quite a lot, but there are so many Zerglings on the board as well as those few Roaches. BratOK realizing that he has to do something in response. He's going to be trying to push out with this drop right now. He needs to take care of some of those expansions. I mean, just look at this. Nerchio sitting on so many bases right now. Absolutely ridiculous. Zerglings rolling forward. Going to be catching those tanks again unsieged. They rolled in before those tanks got up siege. We're able to get that surround without taking too much damage, and that is incredibly unfortunate for BratOK. Again, those tanks just sitting there unsieged and then getting swamped up by those Zerglings so quickly. We are just trying to see some return harassment here, just trying to do some kind of annoying stuff, but not enough going on at this point. Zerglings continuing to wreak havoc here in the main and natural. Just red all over the board, red absolutely everywhere. We do have 1 Marine rolling out, but that's basically it. This expansion is going to be dropped in a second. Roach is going to town here. Tons of Zerglings. Still in Nerchio's base. He doesn't have enough going on. Taking a look at production. There's no production coming out for BratOK right now. BratOK, unfortunately, not looking too good, and there is the GG. So good game between these two players. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Unfortunately, again, for BratOK, he just got caught completely out of position, trying to pull those Marines forward to deal with those Broodlords, and then just getting rolled over by Banelings. So very unfortunate. He didn't have any Vikings in play to deal with those Broodlords, so he was forced to use the Marines, and again, you saw what happened. So great play there by Nerchio. Definitely a macro-heavy game between these two players, but that is not the worst of things. This is how a lot of Starcraft games can go, and macro-heavy tends to be, I don't know, I enjoy macro-heavy games. What do you guys think? And what does this guy think? Wow, that's cool. I'm glad he won those games. So anyways, guys, this has been Force from Force Strategy Gaming. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, guys, keep watching and keep owning. Oh, and one more thing, big shout out to Zach Booth, who is the new creator of my intro video. I'm sure you guys saw the intro at the start of this, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. He put a lot of work into it, so definitely a big shout out to him. There's a link available below to his YouTube page if you ever want to get in touch with him for some intro work. Definitely really solid stuff there. So yeah, I guess that does it. I'll see you guys next time. That metabolic boost, so oh snap, and look, there was even a pause there because he's like, wait, what do I do? What do I do about this? So we've got second gateway coming up right now. Going to be chrono boosting out Zealot as well as that Sentry. And now Zergling's going to start making their way on in and starting to try to do some damage. Once that Sentry comes into play, it could get quite interesting. Optic Zero is definitely going to have a hard time there. You know, he obviously has to destroy this hatch because he doesn't want guys morphing into his base. But that's going to happen right now. As soon as this hatch pops, we're probably going to be seeing a Queen making its way on out. Actually, I don't even know where the Queen would go. Hopefully it popped out on the correct side.